Welcome to the program, everybody. This is part two of the discussion topic titled The Psychology of Poverty and Its Consequences. And this program might not be for everybody. But what am I talking about? I'm trying to get us to understand that poverty is not a condition, it is a mindset that has been perpetuated, taught consistently through the perpetuation of a propagandist, of the propagandist known as the news cycle. All they talk about is bad news 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, spreading negativism. Why do you think a lot of our black athletes are glad to go play basketball and football and other sports? Because they want to get away from poverty. Why do you think our entertainers, especially the rappers, when rap started, etc., they want to get away from poverty, lack, want, deprivation, disparity, not having enough? Why do you think a lot of young women leave home and the first person that they meet that has some substantial needs, they become their partner or they marry them because they don't want to live in poverty anymore? And as I said not too long ago, most relationships, the internal conflicts and wars that occur, it happens over the lack of money. The arguments, the dispute, it happens over the lack of money. Not being able to buy what you want to buy, when you want to buy, do what you want to do, live the way you want to live, go where you want to go when you want to go. And there ain't going to be no sex life because people are going to be arguing and cussing and fussing. The number one perpetuated cycle in the world of so-called Christendom is divorce. I was raised up in so-called fundamentalist Christianity, so I know what goes on behind closed doors. You can't tell me. I've been there, I've lived it, I know it. The divorce rate among Christians is extremely high. Why? Because of poverty. Now, I left off talking about absolute poverty, and it's defined as, because there are four main types of poverty: absolute, relative, situational, and generational. I defined what absolute poverty is. This is an extreme form of poverty where people lack the basic necessities for survival, such as food, clean water, and shelter. It is a chronic lack of essential needs and is often long-term. Relative poverty, this is defined in relation to the average standard of living within a particular society, particularly a marginalized aspect of society. When I was growing up in Philadelphia, I saw a lot of prosperity, not among black people. I saw it among a certain sector of society. And I made up in my mind as a child that I was not going to be broke. I always had one or two jobs, earning money legally. So people are considered in relative poverty if they lack the income to meet the minimum standard of living considered normal in their community, even if they have some money. People need to get honest with themselves. Don't get mad with me because you don't like this topic. As I told you before, people come to America because they're tired of being broke. They come to America because they want to make money. They come to America because they want a better standard of living. They come to America because they want to be able to help their family members back home. The majority of the people, their relatives, are always hitting them up hard for money because once they come to America, they think within 1 week that they're millionaires because they go by what they see on television. And the only time they call y'all is on payday, because you told them when you get paid. So they come up with some excuse, some plausible fake excuse as to why they constantly need you to send them money every time you get paid. And majority of the time they're lying. They're taking that money and they're pocketing it, and they're probably putting it in their own bank account at your expense. And then you're back here living in the States in poverty, trying to take care of your family members back home. Take care of yourself first before you take care of anybody else. You can't give what you don't have. Get rid of all the superstitiality that religionists have attached to you to make you think you're supposed to be broke and poor. and miserable and unhappy, like that's some type of virtue in the eyes of God, and it's not. The Bible is full of prosperity if you look for it. Situational poverty, also known as transitory poverty, this is a temporary state of poverty caused by a specific, often sudden event like a natural disaster, job loss, or illness. People in this situation may be able to escape poverty once the event is resolved, and that is true. All of us, including myself, we were born into circumstances and situations that was beyond our control. But what I can control is how I'm going to get out of the circumstances. How the circumstances are not going to become me. You are not your circumstances, and your circumstances are not you. Lack, want, fear, sickness, disparity, that is not you. Stop embracing it. Stop accepting it. Stop believing in it. Stop letting preachers cram it down your throat and making you think that that's the way you are supposed to live. Holiness without money ain't nothing but bondage. Yeah, I said it. Too many so-called holy people are some of the most miserable people I've ever met in my life. Bitter, hateful, mean. Go to church every time the church door is open. They're full of hell. You know why? Because they ain't got no money. They heard all this so-called prophecy, all these prophetic words given in all these offerings. This so-called prophet came to town. This mud pit prophetess came to town. Oh, God said this and God said that. And ain't none of that stuff coming to pass in your life. They're a lying wonder. If you take your money and start saving it and investing it, you will come out of poverty more quickly than they can put you in it. Generational poverty, this occurs when poverty is passed down from one generation to the next, especially in Black families. When they say, I'm going to leave you in the hands of God, that's exactly what they mean, because they ain't got nothing to give you. Preparations was not made for them when they came into this world, and they didn't make no preparations for when we came into this world. Just because I was born into poverty does not mean that I am impoverished. Just because I was born into a situational thing does not mean that I have to allow myself to live that way for the rest of my life. I reject it. And you ought to reject poverty too. What are you working for if you ain't working for money? We're all working for money. Stop saying you don't like money, and in some instances you love it, but you're so pious until you don't want nobody to know how much you like money. I don't care if folk know I like money. Yes, I like money. And money likes me. Now, see how simple that is? The scripture says that the love of money is the root of all evil. It didn't say that the lack of it, the love of it. Stop hating yourself. Stop loathing who you are. Stop wrapping yourself up in 1,001 scriptures and start using your mind power that the divine creator gave you to use so you can come up out of poverty. Yeah, I'm talking to you church folk now. Around the world, I'm talking to all of y'all. Yes, I am. From America to Indonesia to South Korea, North Korea, over in Africa, in Nigeria. Lagos, Nigeria is one of the largest cities in Africa, yet it is one of the most poverty-stricken cities in all of Africa. With all the prosperity, all the so-called miracles, with all these churches they have, they're still living in poverty. Ain't nobody going to continue to live off a bag of rice for the rest of their life. There's more to life outside of a so-called word of prophecy. You have a mind, use it. You have entrepreneurial skills, use them. You were born to win. You were born to prosper. You were born to success. Let me give you what is considered poverty. Now listen to this from the federal poverty level. The 2024 income numbers versus those in 2025. For individuals who are making $15,000, $15,060 a year, that's considered poverty. That's just for a family of one. For a family of two, $20,000 and $444 a year That was in 2024. Now in 2025, they're only making $21,550, $150. For a family of three, $25,820. That's $26,650 in today's market. What are you going to school for, paying almost $100,000 for a degree, and you're only going to get a job that pays you less than $30 a year? What is wrong with your mind? Seriously, what is wrong with you? Use your mind. School is theoretical in nature. But when you get a vocation, I said, when you have a vocation, you have a skill. Booker T. Washington, in the 1895 speech, the Atlanta Compromise, stressed the importance of what? Of economic self-reliance and vocational training, even in the midst of racism and bigotry. Up, you mighty race, quote unquote. And if you want to be a failure, keep standing around people that don't have nothing. Just keep listening to negative thinking, speaking, acting, poverty-stricken, do-nothing people, and they will show you how to keep yourself miserable for the rest of your life. The psychology of poverty is a mindset. The psychology of poverty is to perpetuate poverty 24/7. The psychology of poverty is to tell you that you can't be anything, you won't be anything, you can't have anything. The psychology of poverty is to consistently tell black people that only white people with their privileged white skin are the only ones who can succeed in America. Oh, hell, I know a whole lot of white folk that are poor and don't have no money. You think I'm playing? I interact with people from all walks of life. Stop thinking that your race your skin color is a curse. Let's define the word black. Yeah, we're going to define the word black and the word white. Let's do this right now. Because people have been taught to hate themselves, black. Now watch this. Quote, this comes from Wikipedia. We all know what the color black looks like, but technically it's defined by the absence of light, total darkness. And let's get a deeper meaning. Because we've been taught that black is ugly. According to Merriam-Webster Dictionary, having the very dark color of the night sky or the eye's pupil. Black is defined as of or related to any various population groups, especially African ancestry, often considered as having dark pigmentation of the skin, but in fact having a wide range of skin colors. Let's define the word white. And then I'm going to bring them all together. And what does Merriam-Webster have to say about the word white? Having the color of the new snow or milk. Clear, transparent, white. For almost 200 years, Hollywood has depicted black people as being ugly, big-lipped, big nose, rings in their noses. And they depicted white as being everything synonymous with beautiful, lovely, godly. Of course, you know, all the artists, all the angels are white, heaven is white, God is white, Jesus is white. And then when they showed the devil got to be black. You must be out of your mind. If you think I'm going to accept that subliminal, suggestive, negative connotation. Stop thinking that your skin color is a curse. If our skin color is such a curse, how come they copy our language, copy our style? They want lips like ours. They want hair like ours. They want the music and the lifestyle, but they don't want the black experience that goes along with it. We used to say, I'm black and I'm proud. Stop letting the media destroy you. Stop letting the media telling you that the psychology of prosperity, the psychology of being broke, the psychology of lack, the psychology of wantingness, the psychology of inferiority, the psychology of nothingness. Stop letting the news media tell you to accept that. Reject it. Reject it. Reject it. Stop letting them tell you that the contributions of our ancestors in this nation was tantamount to nothing. Here's how you know that the contributing factors that our ancestors made is of great value, because they're systematically trying to wipe all the historical significance out of the way. But it ain't gonna work. You can make it happen for yourself. And then the consequences of poverty are when you embrace the mindset of poverty. Because you are going to become what you embrace. I said, you are going to become what you embrace. If you hang around smart, intelligent people, you will become that way. If you hang around industrial, entrepreneurial thinking people, you will become that way. If you hang around people who act stupid, look stupid, and are constantly doing dumb things, no matter how smart you are, you'll become just like them after a while. You can rise up out of your circumstances. You can rise up out of your situations. You know, when the late Reverend Ike, who was born in 1935 down in Richland, South Carolina, when he was teaching black people about health, happiness, success, prosperity, and money, they damned him to hell. They criticized him every step of the way. What are the white preachers talking about today? Because what the Ike used to say, quote, you can't lose with the stuff I use. Now white preachers are sounding like Reverend Ike, who transitioned off the scene in 2009. Because he was showing black people and teaching them about self-positive image psychology. Think good about yourself. Think positive about yourself. See yourself being and doing and having. Stop going backward and go forward. And I'm going to say this because I got an interview coming up around the 7 o'clock hour, or like 5 minutes after. Reject the dark aspect of the psychology of poverty and embrace the idealism of your divine self and your divine oneness in God. And start reading and thinking about positive thinking, speaking, acting people. And you too will come from nothing into something. The choice is yours. The choice is mine. I choose to reject poverty. I choose not to allow the perpetuating negative news media try to reduce me to become another statistical number, and us being black ain't got nothing to do with the color of green. I'm talking to my people tonight, white folk. I'm talking to my people. Stop acting like a buffoon. Stop telling yourself you're trapped in the hood and can't get out. Just like you say you're trapped in the hood and can't get out, why don't you tell yourself you're not trapped and you're coming out of the hood and get into the quote unquote get mo. You remember the movie More Money, More Money, More Money? Too many of our actors and actresses, they felt they played those stereotypical roles for so long and they became wealthy and rich off of it. And then after a while, they said, I'm done with it. I don't want to do it anymore. ABC wanted to take possession of the D.L. Hughley show when it was on ABC because they wanted creative control. They wanted to write the scripts. All the white people wanted to write the scripts for a black show that D.L. Hughley created because they didn't like the positivity of a black prosperous family. He said, the heck with that. He said, I'm the originator of the show. I own it. ABC would say, well, we're not going to bankrupt. He said, well, the hell with y'all. I'm out. Dave Chappelle walked away from almost $1 billion that was put on the table because they wanted him to continue to play those stereotypical roles. He said, I'm done with it. That was $500 million they put on the table for him. He did it on his terms and his way. Hollywood blackballed Eddie Murphy, will never give him an Oscar because he wanted to do it his way on his terms. What are you going to do? I already know what I'm going to do because I'm already doing it. And I do a lot more behind the scenes when I'm not on camera. Invest in your own ideas. Invest in your own future. Invest in your own corporation. Invest in your own success. Invest in your own prosperity. Invest in your own self-positivity. Why do you think I make all the short reels of inspiration and motivation I make? To try to get people to come up. All right, I'm finished with this part of this teaching. Never surrender. Never quit.